We are going to begin this morning's sermon portion with a story. Frida Kahlo's Flower Crown. Like a seed, Frida sprouted and burst through the earth, the coyote once foraged. Coyote was the first place where Frida grew. An orange tree scented the air, and yucca, sunflowers, ferns, roses, palms, and geraniums lined the walls, green against indigo. Frida bloomed season after season, reaching for the sky. One season, her leg withered with polio, but the outdoors and her imagination nurtured her. Frida escaped to a magical world with an imaginary friend and hid under her favorite cedar tree. Strong again and standing tall, Frida played and climbed and rode, walked to the park, and the rippling river were full of discoveries. A bird, a pebble, a winged insect. Frida pressed petals and leaves into her books. Frida collected shells, butterflies, drawings, and watercolors in her knapsack. She stretched towards the sun, soaking up knowledge with every sunrise. When Frida was nearly grown, she almost died in a streetcar accident. Though her body broke like a stem, art and creativity uplifted her. Frida's roots spread deep once more, and her wrist moved like a leaf, bending and swaying in the breeze. Frida flourished through painting and reconnecting with nature, with her ancestral soil. In her garden, Frida planted native flora: organ pipe cactus, agave, prickly pear, old man cactus, cypress, and wild yam. Whether Frida felt in full bloom or parched and listless, she sowed zinnia, magnolia, poinsettia, red angel's trumpet, and philodendron into her art. Frida gathered sweet guava, dragon fruit, tejocote, coconuts, cherimoya, squash, white sapote, sapodilla, and watermelon. Frida cut bold bougainvillea, daring dahlias, and spirited sunflowers to adorn her hair. A flower crown braided with ribbons, a flower crown woven with inspiration, a flower crown rooted in love. Frida blossomed. The woman with the flowers. Norpert Čapek's Flower Communion is a celebration of beauty that honors the diverse range of expression that abounds in our natural world. This celebration of flowers is a metaphor for the celebration of the beauty of all of us. Take a look at the flowers here that we have gathered and collected together today, or listen to me describe them to you. I see beautiful yellows, reds, purples, pinks, small and large, tiny and magnificent, some edible, some not. The array of flowers is just like us. The people in this room adorn the world with diverse beauty. Frida Kahlo also adorned herself with flowers too, to symbolize her resilience. Quote, "I paint flowers so they do not die," Kahlo said. In so doing, she wrangled the power of perseverance. Known to be both delicate and fierce, Kahlo reminds us to embrace life's beauty while acknowledging life's pain. Stricken by polio as a child and harmed by a near-fatal bus accident when she was a budding young woman, Frida remained vibrant despite her injuries, yet still very much openly impacted by them. Her life was haunted by the aftershock of her accident, and part of her mystique and intrigue as an artist was her honesty about that, and how art not only became a means of her authentic expression, but a form of medicine for her pain. Frida is remembered for her art, but perhaps even more so, she is remembered for the essence that she captured as an artist, a prolific painter of self-portraits and confessional artwork. This in part means that she is remembered for herself and for her deep and curious exploration of the joys and challenges of being human, which she expressed through her art and shared with the world. Through this, celebrating Frida is a little bit like acknowledging the celebration of every human, for we all experience ecstasy and tragedy in different ways throughout our lives, perhaps not all of us in the extremes like Frida, but some of us, surely. And I think the reason people relate to Frida Kahlo is because she's held up a mirror to her own soul with enough clarity to show us all a bit about our shared humanity, about what it is to be human. Frida Kahlo's Mexican roots were very important to her. This deep connection with her culture and her ancestors lasted all of her life, with her roots at times showing up literally in her paintings. Next slide. Along the stem of Frida Kahlo's life were things that helped her grow strong, such as her political grit, her intelligence as an academic, and her drive to defy social constructs and brazenly live as her authentic self. She was known for wearing a suit and tie at times, other times quite feminine. She sat in on the boys' classes in her medical school, annoyed that women and men were separate. She became the only female member of a political club at school, which she was passionate about. But along that stem of her life were also thorns of pain, such as that life-altering bus accident and the resulting chronic pain, as well as her known difficulty and deep sadness with her inability to bear children. As we know, the path to motherhood is rarely a straight line, and for Frida, this resulted in a loss that she never fully recovered from. The same is true for the rest of us. Some of us yearn for children, but do not end up with our realities matching our dreams. Some of us didn't ever plan to have children, and we ended up with them. Life is never a straight line. And yet, while she was physically unable to bear children, Frida remained a mother to her own life, her creativity, and her art. And like a mother, She continued to love her unborn children through her artwork that she dedicated to them. She also had a tender and affectionate relationship with her own mother, Mamita, her garden and her animals, and her beloved Diego Rivera. Frida represents a type of mothering that is not perfect, but resilient, flawed, and deeply emotional. She reminds us to nurture our own broken parts and to celebrate beauty. Next slide. Viva la Vida, Watermelons, 1954, was Frida Kahlo's last oil painting. At the end of her life, Frida moved away from her usual themes and painted more still lifes because her health no longer allowed her to create more detailed work. In 1953, just a year before her death, she had to have her right foot and part of her leg below the knee amputated due to gangrene. From this event came the famous saying, forgive my Spanish, pies para que los quiero, si tengo alas para volar, meaning, what do I need feet for if I have wings to fly? Frida is symbolic not just for her talent, nor even for her feminism that she now represents for many of us today, but for her determination to live. Quote, I believe in the sun, Frida said, even when it is not shining. She wore flowers in her hair as a crown of defiance and beauty, showing that even in pain, we can bloom. Her life teaches us to bring our whole selves, our scars, our wounds, our joys, our desires, our contradictions, to the communion of life. At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can, Frida says. May we, like Frida, find the strength to bloom in the midst of the thorns.